Alright guys, welcome to another episode of Behind the Failure, right? And today we have a good friend of mine, Jan Wong. He's the founder of OpenMinds, co-founder, in fact, around few partners together. And at least my notice of you was the playing to fail Fox 30 under virtual.
That was some years back already, yes.
So as I can explain it, it's basically a very digital focused company, digital transformation. Perhaps I'll leave it to you to sort of introduce to the audience of what OpenMinds is about. And then we can start with why behind the failure, the purpose of this chat.
Sure. So OpenMinds just celebrated our 12-year anniversary. Actually, we were founded in 2012, actually with a very simple problem to solve. What we realized was that actually around the world, even up to today, there are a lot of companies that tend to detach technology and marketing, right? So a very simple visual understanding is that if you go to every company, the tech team sits at one corner, the marketing team sits at one corner, and there's always this constant contention between two departments, right? The marketing team say, hey, let's do things look like that. The tech team, oh no, too complicated, let's simplify it, vice versa. So I thought, why not we become that middle person, right? To bridge these two, because if you look at the things that we do today, it's really just a combination of really marketing and technology. Okay. So when we started the business, we were very focused in wanting to consult companies to try to bridge this gap, and we do so by offering several different types of services. So digital transformation, definitely one of it. We do a lot of data-related work, and then from there we do a lot of automation work as we go along as well. Now we are in 4 countries. Wow, exciting times. Still looking out for new opportunities, but that's what we've been working towards the past 12 years.
Okay, great. So that's a quick introduction. And then for us, basically, our purpose of doing this channel actually stems from a personal mission of life, and it's also past experience in the sense that I think maybe I was not fortunate enough to access like mentors, good investors and whatnot in the past, right? And I think I missed out a lot. In fact, just being a sort of participant in listening on good conversations, I thought that was a learning in itself, right? And the unfortunate thing is that exactly, not everyone have that chance. So for example, if I'm having a chat with you here, and if this was not what called it, for example, and maybe it's only 3 or 5 people who get access to that tens of years of the learnings and failures and others. A lot of people talk about success. So that's why the chat is behind the failure.
Nice.
And in recognition of that team, we always start with what's your biggest failure? And the failure can be to date, right? And the failure could be personal, could be relationship, could be business, as long as it's related to life, you can check.
Sure.
What is your biggest failure to date? That you can share as you think is valuable to
Sure.
audience.
I mean, when you said that, right, to be honest, there were a lot of failures that come to mind. So every category you mentioned, personal as a personal failure, business as a business failure, almost every category there's a failure. But I think one that sticks with me quite a bit is business related. And this went back to maybe around the 4th or 5th year of OpenMinds, right? So somewhere the midpoint. I think that was a time where we were over ambitious. We overscaled ourselves. So if you compare, let's say, even team size and what we were doing today in our 12th year, in comparison to what we're doing the 4th and 5th year, we were doing more in the 4th or 5th year. We were far bigger compared to where we are right now, which was insane. Now that I think back, right, with the kind of financial capabilities back then, and our experience back then, for us to do so much with so little, I don't know what happened now. But I think at the point of time, we were on a good run, right? So we started off with 0, we bootstrapped from nothing, right? So
no investors,
no friends and family fundraising, no angels, not even from our own pockets.
Oh, really? This is all from the business operation.
All from the business. In fact, the story goes where we started the company with the first check from the client.
Oh, also, okay, basically you got the deal first.
We got the deal first. So what happens was that with my co-founders, we didn't really want to go into so-called anything serious or to start everything, put up all the money, SSM lah, sign up everything, pay all these statutory things before even proving that this business can be done, right? Especially for something so new 12 years ago. And just for everybody's context, 12 years ago, Facebook was a startup.
Yeah.
Right, so we're still new, right? And we are here talking about digital transformation lah, wanting to bridge the gap lah. Many people couldn't understand, right? So we wanted to make sure that we were able to succeed as a business, at least one client first. So we got our first client, so that basically from the check we grew to where we are today lah. So in the first 3-4 years, the business grew exponentially, right? So we were from only the 2 of us became the 5 partners of us. Then for 5, it became like 40 people. All within just this period of time, we were serving quite big clients. Good lah, at the point of time. So we decided that, well, as for every startup, right, the measure of scale is bigger office. Everybody look nicer, hire more people coming in. We do a bit more of the extravagant things. We try to even become a VC at one point of time. We try to invest in startups, right? So we try to put some money, and long story short, we burn quite a bit of it lah. I think it's not so much of just trying to, leverage on the success and whatnot. I think that time we also stuck very closely to the vision we have. We always wanted to build an ecosystem of startups. We believe that because we came from a startup background, and like you said just now yourself, personally, I also came from a background where I didn't have access to mentors. I did not have access to VCs or experienced people at all. So a lot of it was you learn and you fight the hard way, bang all these walls, right? So we always wanted to be able to build an ecosystem of startups, and hopefully this ecosystem startups and support startups. Right, so that's why we thought that we can put some money into good startups and see whether
It's more like
growth
capital, I think.
seed capital.
Serious.
That definitely cannot afford like Series A or whatnot lah. Okay, but more seed, sometimes pre-seed as well. So we sunk a lot of money there as well. But that very quickly went downhill lah. Right. So we see ourselves really burning ourselves to the ground very, very quickly, and that cost us quite a bit. Actually, it took quite a lot for us to come out from that.
So this chill about going to the essentially that you mentioned is basically everything, which means like you mentioned, right? Just clarity sake, because you said you hire a lot, and you put in offices and maybe you invested in the tech side.
Yeah, that's right.
Platform and this.
That's right.
So it's from every angle.
From every angle. That was also the time we set up an office in Kazakhstan. So you can imagine how aggressive we were.
So when you say Kazakhstan, I do know at the time I met there was like 3 countries, Malaysia, Singapore, I think of
yes.
And at that breakneck speed of expansion, how many countries were you in?
Okay, countries wise, it was just one at the point of time. Okay, it was just Kazakhstan.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so actually Kazakhstan was our first international expansion, not Hong Kong, not Singapore.
Okay. Why Kazakhstan?
This is an interesting story.
Chance encounter, or was very strategic?
I think a little bit of both. So chance encounter in the sense where, I do part-time lectures, right, in quite an international university. There was this guy that was also very interested in the digital space, right? And we chatted quite a bit, and he was very passionate in bringing some of the things that we have in Malaysia in general back to Kazakhstan. So he's quite entrepreneurial, but he's talking about what can we do, should I launch an app there? Should I do something like Grab there? Should I do something like a platform or whatnot? Then we thought, why don't we try launch digital services? All right, and of course we didn't jump into it right away as well. We explored a bit, and actually the conditions were quite right for us, in a sense whereby Kazakhstan was in a state very similar to Malaysia back then, where
It's still growing.
And there is the topic of digital is growing. People want to know more, people want to learn more, so people are interested to hear what we have to offer. So we thought, okay lah, let's do it lah. We did it in Malaysia. We did it the hard way, educating clients. We thought we could do the same with Kazakhstan. And to be fair, it actually went pretty okay.
Oh,
Kazakhstan actually went pretty okay.
is this something that's still here?
No. Kazakhstan lasted about 3 years, if I'm not mistaken, if I researched it right. Yeah, it went down only because of the oil and gas crisis in like 2001, 2006, 2007, around there. The oil and gas crisis where it crashed. So Kazakhstan is a very oil-driven economy. A lot of our clients there are the oil and gas people. And because digital is such a new component to them, we are not even secondary. We are like tertiary of their priorities, right? So when things hit, we are kind of the first service that we cut. So after a serious, all the clients kind of left, that's where we reevaluated lah. Like, okay, should we still continue? Should we do this? Then we decided that no lah. Then we closed it, and then we took our learnings. That's why we went to Hobble.
Just obviously before you missed over, right? In deciding to actually set up shop Kazakhstan, I don't know, back then, it's probably like 20 plus,
yeah,
right? Correct. So did you do those kind of things like market study, market sizing, competitor analysis, and all with people you went with?
No. Okay lah, no.
So it's just like, okay lah, this is the gut feel with the right people.
It's gut feel, right people, yes. Some level of competitor analysis, but I would say competitor analysis means I just go and search online, ask the guys, but nothing comprehensive lah. Yeah.
Okay. Alright, at least you have a partner that was trusted.
Yeah.
At least that removes some of the risk.
Yeah. I think that plays a very huge role lah in whatever country that we are in. Also, the local partner is the one that really helps us navigate the market as well, which is something we wouldn't dare lah. Because especially in Kazakhstan, right, the country is so foreign to us that we don't even understand local cultures.
Yeah. Okay, right. So I want to bring us back a little bit, right, in the sense that because we jump up because there's like a really long offshoot, say, Kazakhstan, who will think of that?
Yeah.
I think if you ask most of the entrepreneurs, they probably don't have a presence in Kazakhstan, nor do they export there.
Sure.
Right? So let's come closer back to the home base, which is Malaysia, right? In what way did you think it was overextended in Malaysia? Because you may have overinvested, but I don't know, it's my take that even if overinvested, if we sort of pivot to target secondary markets or whatnot, we increase the efficiency of sales, marketing, operations, and all this, you could still capture a fairly large market for the digital economy of maybe just Malaysia itself. So where did it went wrong over there, in your opinion? Because you said overextended.
Yeah, I think what you said is all true, granted that if all the foundations were solid. I think at the point of time, because it's just 3-4 years into the business, right, a lot of the things that we have are still very, I don't know what's the right word, very startup-y, right? That you don't really have proper. So it's not defined properly. It's not defined properly. There's no very clear structures. There's no how do we coordinate certain projects properly? How do we measure? Do we have enough resources or overpopulated, in a particular project? So there's a lot of things that's not 100% figured out yet. And when this came in, it just added another layer of complexity to take. For example, right, let's go all the way to the basics. At that time, finance was still done by me.
Okay. So it's untrue to that level.
It is to that level, right? And it's so bad because I'm not from an accounting background. I'm not from a business, but I'm a tech guy. I'm a programmer.
Yeah.
Right. And one of the main reasons why I choose to be a programmer is because I hate accounting. Right, but I am managing the company's finance.
So you didn't outsource the finance part or whatnot at that time?
The partners that come in are the people that do the audit, the year-end audit, but the bookkeeping
Okay.
right? The payroll,
cash
the
flow,
invoices, cash flow projection was all done by me and one of my other co-founder, Daryl.
Right.
And both of us had zero knowledge on this, right? So that alone is already a headache. Then you have the over-expansion of people coming in, whereby then this affected things like culture becomes imbalanced, right? How do we maintain culture? I mean, we pride ourselves in strong culture, but with the influx of so many new people at one go, right? It became a bit difficult to sustain that as well.
What was the team size?
At the time, we were 40-ish. Wow, we were 40-ish at the point of time. So culture was an issue, and then because of that, then you get people talking about different things, right? So you get these pockets of negativity, how some rumors starts, and then you start needing to deal with all the internal politics that's happening that should not happen in the first place, misunderstanding. Then because of all this, all we needed is a little bit of volatility with certain clients. And because these were key clients back then, we as the founders have to jump, we have to wait behind the safe and to work harder and get our heads dirty as well, right? So all this just stretches really, really thin. So although it's true to say that, we could have pivoted, we could have done better BD and whatnot, there was no mental space at that point of time to be able to strategize in such a way. Everything was about, let's get it done, let's solve. It's firefighting, one fire after fire. It was fire everywhere.
And if we take a point there, I always go to the zip cost. So, sure, over expansion, a lot of resources, and then these are all problems that arise from getting sort of decision, right? But if we again take a few steps back, right, that decision to hire, because if there's hiring, maybe you start with 10 and then you get to 40, and it's still a constant process over years behind the way, right? What prompted that decision to say, or that confidence about coming? I'm sure we did that.
I'll tell you that it's not confidence. Okay, tell you it's not confidence. So I think at that time it was just, you need help, is it? Let's get somebody to help.
So it's like you just want to equip your people, like give them the resource, remove the obstacle for them.
That's right. So that's why when I say overextending, right, it is towards this extent as well, right? So at one hand we say, more help is good, right? So if you have somebody that come and help you, your burden is lighter, we should be able to do more, right? And then there's this whole dream back then, or if I have a team can do all this already, right, then we can also focus on the bigger part of the business. That's the end goal of a lot of business people.
So learning here is that it's not necessarily that if you just throw resources at the problem,
that's it, right,
fix it itself.
That's right. Okay. In fact, sometimes you throw more resources, it brings even more problem than the problem in itself.
Okay. And that's a good insight. I think a lot of people, it's good because I thought the answer would be this, but I suddenly make this kind of decision where, the metrics are right, the numbers are correct, I will not regret putting in the money or resources. Because the metrics are right, the fundamentals are correct, right? But I do admit I also have been in the situation, whether it's the Joby peanut butter business or the previous tech business, where I say, salesman got a lot of leads, a lot of people to follow up. That's higher.
Exactly.
Not enough leads, right? It's just a matter of calling. It's a market scale. Put more people to call.
Totally can relate. Very similar.
Okay. So it's that intention to just remove obstacle and equip the resources.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you make the decision to invest, and then it overextended, and you mentioned that this is like 4-5 years into the business, right?
Yep.
At what point do they signal to you that, hey, these things are not working, and we had to make that sort of hard decision, a hard call to say, you gotta stop or we might have time. And what was the catalyst to tell you that?
I think the signs were very obvious where we found ourselves in an environment that we ourselves don't enjoy. When I say we, meaning me and my co-founders, that, why has it become a bit more toxic?
Okay.
Why is it that there are people talking about things but why there's so many misunderstandings where there shouldn't be misunderstandings, but what went wrong? And then of course it affects finances as well. That's cold hard truth, right?
Which came first? Which was the painful button? Was it the cultural part or like, oh, it's hitting my wallet right now? then it becomes a bit more painful.
And
because right, actually, to be honest, a lot of businesses outside small SMEs or anything, it only hits them like a finance dry
up, right?
Yeah. So I'm not sure if that's why.
I think at that point of time, because everything was really burning quite hot, right? I think it's very hard to say which came first.
Okay.
Because
I'm gonna press you on this one.
Yeah, sure.
Like, sure, everything is burning, right? But which one gives you the most pain yourself? You probably can't speak to your father. Which one?
That I can tell you is the culture part. Why I say that is because fast forward, now we're talking about year 4, year 5, right? Fast forward to year 8, year 9, we were in a, not to say similar situation, but we were in a situation where business was alright. We have big clients, but culture was bad.
Right.
And that hurt us to the core. Because we were losing very good talent. We have people that we have set up to lead the team leaving,
Right.
and they are leaving because of rumors that are untrue. Somehow something festered that we cannot catch, right? And we spend so much time and effort just to nip it in the bud, right? That has always been one of the things. So I think yes, money plays a role as well. But this is the one that kind of keeps us up. You up at night. I think me and my partners as well, me and Daryl particularly, because we both of us work with the people a lot more on the culture side. Not to say the remaining doesn't, but they're more operational driven. So these are the things that we usually talk about quite a bit.
I think it's refreshing, at least on my end, to hear that it's the culture. Because 9 out of 10 times I would say it's the money part. Yeah, it's like somehow they just run out of cash. Somehow I don't have enough funds, or I have 3 months, 6 months. Then they start looking for the problem, and then they identify.
Actually, it's people, okay.
Which I actually agree with you, because for me personally, there's this Chinese saying where if the something along the lines, I'm just approximating that if the problem can be solved by money, it's not
okay. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. So because I really think that if you've got those core things like we mentioned, right? Culture, product fit, product market fit, all this, money will fold in eventually. Yeah, may put that time. Okay, so culture became the tipping point for you.
Yes. Right. Time and time again, that has been proven true. That's why we got our culture quite hard in that sense.
Okay. So, that became a tipping point in catalyst. Then, how did you all get yourself out of that kind? Or is it still happening today? Are you at a better place?
Thank God I'm in a better place.
Okay.
In terms of creative, I mean, we learn through all these hurdles as well, right? So because of the experiences, we realize that we always need to over-communicate sometimes.
Yes.
To really make sure to dumb down whatever that is we said, to be as explicit as possible. That's where we started saying that, transparency needs to be part of our values as well, so that everybody hears it from us. That's why until today, it's the leadership team or the founders ourselves that still does the orientation for newcomers coming to the company. We always want to be the first people who welcome them in the company. So when we sit down with them 1 hour, ourselves, yes.
I mean the founders.
The founders. So depending on time, schedule and all that, right? Or the immediate leaders that comes after us, the leadership team that comes in. So they always hear it from the top and not just from a peer to say, oh, welcome to OpenMinds. Here's where the washroom is and what, right? But we walk them through the values to explain to them, and we do this even for interns.
How many people do you have today?
Right now, we are still under that 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
less than the
It's less than
over
that, yes.
expensive.
Exactly, exactly. So we are doing so much more right now, but we are still under where we were back then.
So much more productive and efficient.
That's right. So we have learned it. We don't want to go back. So right now, every time we hire, now we go through. So when people really or not, really need or not, how would this affect us? Just to make sure.
Yeah, understood. And if I may ask, which is why is culture so important? I know culture is important to build business, right? You talk culture is important, but why is it important to you?
I think it comes down to maybe personal values and also aspirations. I think I always like working in an environment where people share similar vision. People find that the whole place is not just about getting ahead with each other, but striving. Instead of own concept fighting together, these are things that speaks very closely with me. Maybe because I used to be very active in church and all that, right? And this concept of achieving something together with a common goal, and it's not about pulling each other down, but succeeding together, has always been something that I also want to achieve even within business. Well, that's why from the very beginning, even with me and my co-founders, we actually spent quite a bit of time talking about how would this company pay, even when it's small at the point of time, and what happens becomes big.
So for the audience clarity as well, have you worked before you started the company?
Actually, no.
So it's straight off the bat, just straight off the bat, starting a company?
Yes. I mean, of course, before OpenMinds, I have a stream of other companies as well. I had a data recovery company. I sold thumb drives, set up those PCs for people. I have a Facebook app development company. I was in events. I did a bit of fashion. I did a e-commerce.
Quite fascinating, right? Because usually, that I actually worked with you with startup anyway, 2 years before I started off on entrepreneur journey on. But most that talk about culture usually have worked in the company before. Because experience. Yeah, they experienced a company that they did not like. Simple. And they want to affect change, but it didn't seem that was your case like that. So again, I'm still very curious. Yes, you have answered it in a sense that maybe it's from the church, maybe your personal life, but why do you want to build that? Like, why do you want to build politics? Because there is another school of thought, right? Is that if I build a business, as long as the shareholders benefit, right? Yeah. And that's all that matters. I take care of the employees, not to shortchange that. Yeah, that's right. I take care of the employees. I pay market rate and all this. People come, people go. Yeah, and I just manage it as part of the process. So why not that in your own personal viewpoint of this working together, sitting together this way? That seems like so. I mean, to be honest, a much harder route thing to go.
It is. But while there's nothing wrong with that so-called make money, just run the company as is, right? I guess.
Yeah, and to be clear, so there's no maybe people take it out of context. I'm not saying that we maximize shareholder profits and all expense, right? It's that we pay a fair market rate. We do what is right by the employees, but we don't have to necessarily nurture and grow with that. That's how some.
No, it's true because it's definitely tougher, right? The nurturing route. But I think for us, it's really a dream, lor. It's really a dream.
Shared by everyone, or is it you?
Shared by everyone. So when we started on day one, right, when we decided to incorporate OpenMinds, me and my co-founder just sat down to talk about what is a dream, what would be a dream company.
You mean like before you all start?
Yes.
How would you that with Randy and Darren?
Yeah, Randy and Daryl. At the time, maybe about 23, 24.
Wow.
Yeah. We were talking about what would the dream company look like, right? So it started off quite crazy. I remember very clearly, we were at the cafeteria at the KLCC Convention Center.
Okay.
Right, we attended an exhibition together, and then we were there just to have coffee before heading back, right? And then we started talking. So, what would be a dream workplace like, right? And we were just throwing out literally random things.
But you all already decided to start a company. We decided this question to say what would be a dream workplace.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That we were just throwing out random stuff, right? So I remember someone was saying that, oh, the dream workplace would be I don't need to come into office every day. Right? Then everybody, yeah, sure. Then somebody said, oh, maybe come into office, but the unconventional working hours, shorter working hours. Remember this 12 years ago?
Yeah.
No COVID, remote working, no remote working, no nothing, right? All those were just pipe dream, right? Then some people said, oh, I wish that the company pays for my personal expenses. Like, oh yeah, we laugh about it, right? But little that we know, out of everything that we said, right, all this slowly became part of the company. So from the year one, we were already doing hybrid, right? 3 in-office days, 12 out-of-office days. Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
It's more than 10 years ago.
This is more than 10 years, 12 years ago, 2012. We were already doing that. 3 in-office, 2 office. We practice it until today. And it's worked out for us very well.
Yeah.
Our working hours are also a bit different. We start from 11. We go at 6:30. So if you count the hours a bit shorter, skip the morning traffic, kind of skip a little bit of the evening traffic as well. Also worked out very well for us. Company pay for my expenses. Today we have like 27 categories of perks. We pay or we reimburse you buy your phone lah, when you get married, you get something as well. You have a kid, you get something as well. If you work with us more than 3 years, you still cannot buy your house. We give you money for deposit.
Serious. Any bonds and whatnot?
No bonds.
Yeah. Time to submit a job application.
No bonds. 27 categories. Of course, it didn't start with 27 categories. It started off with the first few simple ones, like, it's your birthday, But from the very beginning, we had this particular perk that we thought is nice, but we didn't realize what impact would it make, right? This perk was to bring your parents out for dinner perk.
Wow.
We put it just as a symbol of just gratitude, right? But our team,
And it doesn't cost a lot.
It doesn't cost a lot, and that is something where a lot of our team members really appreciate. Right, so on top of whatever they're earning, you say, bring your parents out for dinner, here's 200 ringgit, buy them.
So what's the proof? They have to send a picture of you dining with your parents.
But we don't go to trust them. We trust them. Trust them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And I also know about the, is that still on the unlimited lease?
Unlimited leaves, yes. That's what we launched 2 years back. We decided that since we are kind of hybrid anyway, and we don't really keep the number of leaves so hard as some other companies, we decided there's no need to calculate, so just take it whenever.
Okay. I understand we veer off a little bit from your from your bigger scale. Well, yeah. But I think this is interesting to explore, because a lot of MNCs. It sounds like your perks are more like MNCs actually, but from an SME angle. In fact, it may be better than some of the MNCs outside of like Google and all these other resources, right? But in the process of implementing this, so I turn back to our theme, right? Is that would people not take advantage of it? Would there failures of implementing it that became very painful for you?
Good question. Over the years, definitely we found cases where people were kind of exploiting the perks lah. But I think we're also very fortunate that there is nothing that caused us so much damage and harm and was able to be rectified quite easily.
Was that the minority or majority?
Like, you may say one to exploit. Minority.
Excellent.
Minority. I think this showed us something where trust is given, trust is reciprocated as well.
I do agree, because it seems that if you look at a lot of policies that MNC post about now, the default operating mindset from where they're coming from is from here. Is that what if someone took advantage of? What if it cost us millions of dollars in all this? And it's not from, I don't know, maybe I'm a bit positive because something is wrong up here. So why? Okay, to me, it's abundance, and that I have to have the abundance mindset to say I have a lot to share, and that trust that you mentioned. And maybe it's because of your wiring as well. That's why I get. Did you face any objections from the co-founders?
Actually, no. So sometimes I'm quite surprised as well. But a lot of these perks that we call it, right, are all co-developed by me and my co-founders anyway. So jointly together, a lot of it, I think all of it, we all said yes to offering some of these things.
Wow. Because the reason I asked is that I've got my fair share of horror stories.
Like what?
I'll give you an example, alright, is that I hope people don't try and extrapolate it and identify it, but I think it's a very, like I said, authentic conversation, so I'd like to share. So, there was this company that I was involved with, and it's not necessarily they were trying to cut costs. So there was this general manager and I guess one of the tasks was to cut costs, right? Okay. So you would think that you will cut costs in things that are frivolous or unnecessary, yeah, right? So I was very shocked that one meeting we had a few directors. So imagine the time cost that when this meeting done. Let's talk about hours. You know what we were discussing? To optimize the electricity cost. We should get all the people right in one section A, and then we turn off the lights and aircon at section B.
Oh, wow, okay.
Then right, the pantry when we stock up, I think we should switch from branded to a house brand.
Okay.
House brand, the supermarket house brand. Listen that. Oh my god.
What's that?
I said, wow, this one really know how to penny pin stuff. So it went up to that part, and of course this is an extreme case. Like, sometimes I try to understand where they come from. Perhaps when they started the company, it was really every single cent put out. I mean, to be fair, is she was part of the founding team, and the company was like 25 years ago. This kind of thing, right? Okay. So I can understand where it came from, but it just didn't evolve. I was like, no. But I've also had my fair share of, not so to the extreme, but a lot of objection. So for example, I said, we should just allow the staff to take, because let's say we're manufacturing products, I wouldn't. so we're manufacturing products, and it's like, the need is your employees are the champion, and so give took a few products to you. I think that's the best influencer or champion, right?
Yep.
And they know what if they just take the most expensive products every week, right? The 5 and 6. I say, if to me, just think on the individual, how much can they consume? And I don't know if you're aware that like EP2 edition back from K8, they just give out boxes, whether you like it or not.
Just take
3 months.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. Or it could be more that I don't know on.
Last time, I mean, some F&B brands, manufacturing, so they just give products.
Hide and turn a few buttons on it.
Yeah, even F&N and all that, right? Yeah.
Good. So, I mean, it's just good to hear from the SME and work that people like yourself. So we say that to you.
I think if there's any trick at all, it's really the initial alignment that we had. I think I'm blessed to be able to have co-founders that are able to align. There were a lot of hard conversations in the early stages, especially really trying to understand each other's value system. What are they looking for in life as well? How will they treat the business? As is it just a part-time thing? Is it for the side thing? All this alignment was a necessary component to us doing what we're doing today.
So how do we justify it in the sense that from the financial perspective? Because you always put some weight on it, but a lot of probably business owners and whatnot are investing out on maybe they are or by startup as who will say, hey, I just put arbitrary number it. Say you have the D stuff like that. Each one of these every year of your total cost 5,000. It's 150,000. And investing $50, you can work a more later, right?
Yes, we know.
Yeah. You can hire one person.
Yeah.
You can try your marketing.
That's right.
You can rent a fancy office.
Right.
So why? Again, like how? Okay, perhaps not why, because you answer that this is integrated. But if someone wants to implement it, because you've already implemented it many years, right? How? What would your advice be? How do I get started?
Okay, I think two parts to this question, right? How to get started is actually not as difficult as a lot of people think. A lot of people, when they hear about what we do, right? Of course, the absolute number is scary, right? 27 categories. If each category is just 500 ringgit, that's how much already, right? But you don't need to touch the 27. We started with just 3.
The most.
It was a tech perk. It was a grooming perk. Yeah, because we wanted people to kind of at least buy yourself a blazer when you go meet the client, that kind of thing, right? Don't tell us you don't have money. We give you money to go buy a blazer. Have Uniqlo, H&M also never mind, right? Good anyway. And then one more, it's the birthday perk.
Okay, sorry, very basic. In fact,
Very basic.
We might be already spending on it.
Exactly, right? So it's just start with something small, but we realized that even these small things, people treasure. Right? So, the company gives me a subsidy to buy a new tech product every year, right? It may not be a sum of money. You could just start off with just 1,000 ringgit, but 1,000 ringgit up of a subsidy of a phone, why not?
If you divide by 1,200,
Yeah,
that's the 100 a month.
exactly. That's 100 a month. Why not? Right? So it also grew from that 3 to 5 and then to 9 and then 15 and the numbers slowly go up as and when we think to the 4.
Okay,
Right? And what will be beneficial to the team members. So you're right? In a sense where we don't just give just because we think it's a cool thing to give. Because we also know that there is a limit in terms of finances, right? We cannot say that, oh yeah, everybody get a car, right? Just go and spend and buy. It's not like that. So we ask ourselves, what are things where people value? What are things where people need? So the whole mindset behind the perk, right, other than making the team member feel good, is more of, again, what we said at the dream part, right? How can the company support my life? So we come from a perspective of if I'm an employee, right, would it be nice if the company supports me so that I can have a more so-called balanced life? Then we introduce a sports perk. We give you 250 ringgit per year. You can buy a sports shoe, you can buy something so that you can use it to activate your lifestyle. Then eventually we realize that some people like to invest in certain small hobbies, right? At one point, like terrarium lah, go do turfing lah, that kind of stuff, right? It's good to explore, and we know that costs extra money. Whereas we have a budget, you go and learn and do some of these things. And so when we implement this, actually we saw a few positive changes within the team. One is that because we are very strict with the categories, you cannot say that, oh, the whole year I didn't use I lump up the whole sum, I just go and buy one iPhone 16 Pro. Yeah, cannot. So you need to spend in the category one. So when we implemented that, right, people started really exploring things and doing things in the category. So they use the money,
Right.
Yeah, right. If you don't use it, privilege, they will expire. You cannot carry forward one.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I need to go buy a pair of shoes. So I go and join pay class pass 1 month, and just go and do some exercise. Try Pilates, because I've never tried Pilates before, or something like that. Pickleball or whatever. So that encourage team members, and that they become happy employees, basically.
Okay, so basically the takeaway from this really is that it's because of many years, that's why it's evolved into 27 categories.
That's right.
Big thing, yeah. But to get it started, you to start out with 500 ringgit per year,
Yeah.
or to 100 ringgit that is outside of the current
It's a gap. Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. I think that should be quite useful for those people who don't have such a program to experiment. Right. Cool. Okay.
I think it helps.
Good. So that's more on what right? And obviously balanced lifestyle, right? and your personal life has got to be working well in order to also run the business well. And is during the over expansion period, go back a bit, right? That did it cause any sort of spillover effect to your personal life, your sanity? How are you holding up to that? Because like you mentioned, the video of fires all around. Well, come back business, then you will finance. I don't know, were you up to that point where you're not paying yourself, right? I know a lot of people during COVID, they prioritize their employees first. So how was the personal front that sort of times of turmoil?
I think during that time, me and my co-founders have a very big advantage, which is that we were all very young. So that means that commitment was at its lowest.
Yeah.
Right. In other words, of course, money is important, but we didn't need a lot to kind of survive. And we were all single back then, right? Not married, no kids,
no family to support and all this.
Exactly, right? So because of that, all of us are able to go 110% into the business. So we were very focused in really solving those fires. So on that note, yes, obviously that means that we have to compromise on family time. Like one of us, we are staying late, we're trying to get the accounts done, right? I remember nights where every month, Daryl and I would be at the office until 3-4 a.m. trying to tally
this is a reconciliation already.
Yeah, even reconcile.
You outsource the first one.
That was year end for anything, right? But the month people keeping business.
Why did you outsource at that time?
We were young and stupid. How else to sum it up, right? But we were, because although some of us came with some business background as well, none of some of these business grew to the extent that we were at that point of time.
So beyond your sort of experience and level.
Correct. Okay, correct. So we're coping with a lot of things that we don't know ourselves. It was first time for us as well. So we power through it, wing it up. Just wing it up. Just wing it. Cut. So at the end of the day, you didn't get only external cuts at the finance part. That only came in, I think, in like year 5, year 6.
Wow.
Out. And that process was also really tough, right? So when we finally decide to hire people, it was
so you hired the foundation?
Outsource. We didn't outsource.
Okay, so we'll circle back to this later.
But when we brought in people, it was a series of wrong decisions.
Okay.
Actually took a series of bad hires for finance to get to where we are at today.
Okay, so if you rewind back to that point in time, right, knowing what you know now, would you outsource?
I think we will still hire.
We will still hire.
Rather than outsourcing.
I have my operating mindset and the way I actually ran was totally counter yes.
So outsource,
Yeah. I think maybe sometimes it's got to do with how they are trained. I don't know that because I was fortunate enough that my first business that I started, it was seeded by a founder of a listed company. So you said you just start on your own, right? No mentors or anything, right? Yeah. So when I started, again, I think it's really a privilege that I started that way. So when I started, they said, okay, we're going to invest this seed money. You have a salary and you have equity, and this is the budget. Very, very MNC-like, but it's an entrepreneur. We call it entrepreneur. So they're nurturing you as a BU, right? And we said, don't worry about the finance and the HR and all this. We've got this all on shared services back end. So you just pay an X amount of money when you
then they will settle.
Yeah. So I find it so. Now that I talk about it, I understand the pay was like entrepreneurs like yourself. But I maybe I was doctored on. So yeah,
So nice.
yeah. But I didn't realize it back then. So in my assumption, it was always quite easy to start a business in the sense that I said, okay, you focus on the operations, you focus on the hiring, you focus on the business, and I never needed to deal with something. I'm not finance trained, so I never needed to deal with cash flow management, balance sheet, P&L, yes, I still have to reach.
Sure. Yeah.
So, but because of that, I was able to run maybe 10 times faster than people who need to deal with that. So I'm actually really surprised to say that you were still higher.
I think it's because of how we set up the company to be, until today, right? We actually struggle when an external accountant or the auditor comes in to look at our son.
Oh,
we still struggle because the way we budget, the way we categorize, the way we give up perks and all that, right? It's always a mystery to this bunch of people. It is out of what they usually do, right? So it ends up with a lot of unnecessary questioning. It's not like we're doing things illegally or whatever. Just that they just don't understand why is it done in certain ways, and that causes a lot of back and forth. So our finance also don't like dealing with the people outside. So at the end, we have our internal capabilities to handle and set up all our own.
But it's okay lah. Let's say we can have different takes here, right? Let's say someone is starting out and they want to go business. What would you recommend? Do you recommend skill for them to hire for those skill sets they don't have? Like in this case, particular finance.
I think it depends on what they're planning to do. If it's going to be so-called straightforward, let's say you're going to retail and it's really just going to be that, right? Then we're talking about the volume of things coming in. Then you can just outsource the bookkeeping work. I think it's a bit different for us also because you're on the service side, right? Where we don't experience such high volume of the transactions as well. So it's still possible to do it internally or it's founder-led or whatnot to a certain extent, but if you're doing tail B2C, 50, 100 transactions on a daily basis, thousands even, then forget it lah. Please go and outsource.
Understand. Okay, sorry. You guys get the refill of my So it's context driven.
I think it's context driven.
Okay.
Yeah. Because to be honest, if you're a small SME and you are service based, say you don't have such high frequency of meeting and your team is not too big, sometimes do yourself lah. I'm the type of guy, if you can do yourself, you do yourself lah. And actually, I'm also quite glad that we were able to do it ourselves,
right?
Because that allowed us to talk on similar terminologies with our internal finance eventually, and also when answering external, because we came from zero, right? So that really helped us build the basic knowledge as well, the hard way.
Okay. But we came to this when because they're like how are you doing personally, and we said work the apps and all this stuff, and so can I sum that up that it was like pretty smooth ride for the personal front?
For that particular episode, yes, yeah, okay. But the other episodes are not so good lah. I mean, that's true, right? Cannot be smooth sailing the whole life and nothing's happening. Yeah,
true. But was there anything that happened personally which affected your business?
Definitely. This one is really on the personal side, where it also started off with the company doing very well lah.
Oh, same.
So say, but a bit different timing. This is after that already, right? And then we were on the up again, and then doing very things like settled down, things turned down, break up, nice, okay, up again. Companies at the top, everybody is. It's a high time, like it was a good year.
Same, okay.
Why I say it's personal, because for some reason at that height, long story short is I let ego take over a lot of my really.
Okay.
until today, when I look back, right, I don't understand how it also happened.
Okay.
Because for me, it's very uncharacteristic of me.
Exactly.
You're shocked. Is
Yeah, I'm like, Jen got involved.
then
Okay.
a lot of my close friends also couldn't believe it, right? But it was a time where somehow I allowed ego to take over a lot of the things I think about and the things that I do.
Okay.
Now that I look back, it sounds very stupid, right? But at that point of time, it felt as though that I could say whatever I want without repercussions
In the company or in the industry?
anywhere. Oh, right. So I don't guard my mouth, right? I just say whatever I need to say. I became a little bit more arrogant than I should, right? I started going back on my words sometimes, or the value that I believe in as well, right? So that caused a series of wrong actions and wrong decisions. But I always try to keep covering up because I thought I could. Yeah, right. So I cover it up. Sometimes you lie, sometimes you half true, sometimes you just beat in the story, sweeping under the rug, whatever, until one day, everything just fell flat, where everything was exposed, everything fell flat, and from that height, I fell ground zero on a personal level. I lost a lot of good friends because they realized that, they found that, actually, Jen is just a liar, right? Cannot trust him, I said, it actually shook the foundation of the partnership in the company for a bit as well, because there were business decisions made that was also based on who and whatever else, and obviously, it's not how we agreed to operate from a business level. We talk about culture and all those nice things just now, right? And here you are right now doing all these things, and saying all these things. So it was a very rough edge. So on a personal side, I lost a lot of friends. At the time, I also lost. I came out from a long-term relationship. My ex. That was also a tough one. And then my parents weren't happy with everything that's happening as well. So that also affects the relationship with my parents.
Not the business side things?
More on the personal side, relationship side, all that. And because of that, I was kind of put in cold storage even in the family. I didn't speak to them for months. They didn't want to speak to me. They didn't want to look at me. Right. So it was very, very hard, very, very lonely, very, very dark times. So if we look at the 12 years of OpenMinds, that was my darkest spot throughout the entire duration.
I will mention some more that this was from a business career perspective was high times.
It's a high.
But the personal side as well
was an absolute zero. And somehow it became even worse when, introduction, you introduced as the Forbes East and whatever, right? I made the Forbes East on that year.
I think it's probably the year that I shared you. I haven't known you that. Your name popped up as a okay, I share from an ex-girlfriend on mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's very smart.
But when I heard, I say, Jan Wong.
Okay, Jan Wong.
Sorry, I this many years later, I can say now you're worth the salt. But at that point in time, I always took titles as with a pinch of salt.
Sure.
Basically, right? But hey, nevertheless, focus. So there's some weight to carry. Sorry, I just felt the need to interject there.
No. That's
where I first knew your name, but I never connect with you 2 to 3 years.
No.
Okay, so I know you
that's a story that we will pick up later.
Yeah.
No, but so it was like an additional blow, right? So it's like I'm already at this level, right? I'm already down there, and then this recognition came, and then so what does this mean?
Yeah.
Right. So I actually felt nothing when I was name on the list, right? In fact, it was never celebrated until today. Right, so I went to the conference, I went to whatever, they gave the award and whatever else, right? But I was really at zero. Many people don't know this, but at the event, everybody's, oh yeah, congratulations, you meet all the other kids, right? I felt nothing. At night, I went back to the hotel room, I stared at the blank space, I cried.
Oh shit.
It was just pure dark times. It was very, very difficult. Many times that, because again, I started all this whole story by saying it's very uncharacteristic, right? Actually, I'll see what happened that tipped me, right? Until today, I don't have an absolute answer.
Oh, again, if you wouldn't mind, right? It's like, feeling like a specific example, of how that ego could also cause certain problems, the one that you can share, and that perhaps others can learn from.
I think from the business front, it's really from the decision-making perspective, meaning that I became a lot more brazen, right? And I tried to push a lot of things through that actually deep down, I probably know that isn't the right thing to do anyway. But I still decided that, hey, it's so-called worth the risk, we need to do this, if not miss an opportunity, let's just go and do it lah. And then when it doesn't work out, how we realize, try to shoot somewhere else, and say, see, it's there, it's here, basically don't lie.
Okay. I think that's refreshing here that tell people that is in the sense that a lot of times people just want to tell how visionary how far I can plan, how strategic I was, right? And I think it's a bit tit for tat. If you share that, so I can definitely resonate again, because my darkest time at that point was when I was divorced. So and some was taken away has to be like my assets I mean too, but share how all this kind of rain act, and it also affected my work relatively, right? And because of that, when you share that people find, so to me at that point in time it was also 20 plus back there. So when 20 plus when you must even okay. So yeah, I think it was about 27 if I recall that. And I thought to myself, hey, I've achieved so many things in my career that's been good for Jan Wong. Then yet in life, in relationship, I was driven by all mentions, and I thought I was a good husband, or I thought I was a good father. I was the fact so, and you know what's the worst? Still continue, maybe doing stuff like that. I doubled down on the because it was an escape.
Yeah.
Did you do the same during that time where you mentioned you were okay, fine, it led you to wrong decisions, but when you do it, did you continue putting more at work?
I think for me, I can't say it's different or not, but for me, I couldn't even focus at work at that point. I was in.
So yeah, different people have different reactions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was at that state. I was just in mental distraught. I wasn't feeling it. I couldn't function. At work, I was incredibly distracted as well. At work, I'm thinking about life, and in my life, I'm thinking about work.
Okay, yeah, that's not weird.
Yeah, everything is just jumbled up. So for the first time in history, I actually took leave the work, like a sabbatical, that kind, right?
Same. I also did that, and I took like maybe like 3 months.
Yeah, I also thought about 3 months. Yeah. That's
Okay.
That's right. To really just go and deal with it, to deal with whatever.
To sort of find that sort of contest would have not all.
That's right. So, it's all of those finding yourself and all that just trying to replenish it. But it was tough because I really had nobody to talk to at the point in time, because my parents didn't want to feel cold. My co-founders were
They need to run the business now.
They need to run the business, and they are not happy with me as well, right? So it's very difficult to work. So there's too many things jumbled up together, right? And back then, even friends as well, basically they also didn't want to talk to me, right? They think that I'm the one at fault, we shouldn't be like that, and therefore a lot of them just refused to meet up. So I was dealing with it pretty much alone at the point of time.
And how do you pulling yourself out from that situation?
Wow, this one,
Because it's also, I actually see two major challenges there. One is whoever in that situation, especially when it's the highest of success one, number one, just need to know and admit that, okay, this is where it's going to screw up, or I'm screwing up, right? Not wait until to the point where everything come crashing down and okay, I screwed up, So that's one. Second is, after you are aware, what is the step you take to put in the discipline to dig yourself out of the hole you created in the first place, right? So it's a two-part question here.
Yeah, but there's no other answer than to say that it was really a spiritual journey at that point of time. When everything else crumbles and there's nothing on to hold on to, right? I was really just, I was just asking God like what's up? Like why? Right? Like all this while I've been so-called, I've been active in church, I've been doing all these things, I've so and so, I've doing this, and why does it not come to me? It's like what happened, right? So there was a lot of questions, there were a lot of anger at times, there was really just debate and trying to find peace with myself and with.
So there was no sort of single fan or person that prompted that awareness that
there was. So it was really just dealing with the spiritual realm.
Wow.
So of course, physically I was trying to, I traveled a little bit to new places, trying to go. That fortunately, I have some friends in other countries, that I can just talk to a little bit, so the traveling a bit helped, but a lot of times it was still the emptiness and loneliness at the point of time, right? So there was still a lot of conversations with myself and with God, but I still treat it as a miracle because it's crazy. Because there's one day I remember going to bed. This is like 2-3 months in already. That I was so like myself, so like whatever. Like I don't know how long this is gonna last, right? But I remember very clearly there was a night that I actually seemed very similar as the past 2-3 months. I cried myself to sleep. Like I was like so disappointed, so angry with myself, right? But the moment I woke up, I was completely fine.
Wow, this one is really like a bit funny. I know it's not even contemporary, it's a spiritual awakening.
It's like something clicked, right? And I was completely fine. I woke up. I didn't have any of those thoughts. I wasn't feeling that heaviness or emotional or whatever. I showered, I went to office.
So you were not talking or having a very profound conversation the day before or
nothing. Everything, nothing. Everything status quo. No major status quo. Usual, very dark night, thinking of all crazy stuff. Next morning, wake up, right? 100% nothing. I could function. I went back to office. I was on
what to change and all.
Yeah, I went back to office. I functioned, and then it was.
You sugar coating or not?
No. I don't even know how it happened. Right, but somehow it was like just
Totally. Then I think if that is the true counter, right? Then I say that not to dispel that it's not right. It's I think it's very lucky. Because I went through a bad phase.
Yeah.
And I don't know, sometimes in my personality, I've learned along the years now that I've known better. But I felt that last time I was the type to say, in Cantonese, that you gotta hit your head before you learn the lesson. So my point was that the turning point was this. I talk to other people one-on-one, so I don't mind sharing. Sense that I was in such a bad financial situation. So you see the difference between whatever you discuss. You don't wait till you get to bottom end of the barrel. But my personality is to maximize it. So I go all the way to the end. And there was this point where financial was so bad that I had to go back to Singapore and to work and just right. I don't know why the timing was so right. And I went back to Singapore to work. It was exactly 10 years after I started my journey in April. Exactly 10 days. And it was so bad that I had to get my sister's stove. I couldn't afford rent. And I was just sleeping one day, right? Like you say, you were crying, all this, right? And so for me, I was just shitting at my sister's giving me. And I'm reflecting as it. Well, then what? Hey, I said 10 years back, came here. My salary is equivalent to now, but now with inflation and all, it's nothing, So an example, when I went to Singapore, at that point in time, this was about, right? I think I was earning about 5,000 to 6,000 Singapore. At that point in time, one ringgit is $2. One Sing dollar is 2 ringgit. Not even 2.3 yet. And I was only 5,000-6,000. At fast forward 10 years, and pay that 10 years, I still get rent based on my weight. Fast forward 10, I've been my sister's neighborhood on the floor, no bed, and only about the same amount. And that really hit me hard. I also went a lot later. And that was my turning point of time. I understand still, why if I allow this to happen, whatever I was doing at that point, crying on, whether it's for a relationship, business, or whatnot, if I don't turn this down, it could be worse. And I'm not in the living room, I may be in the bunk bed. Singapore is this for the foreign workers, I mean for people who don't know, in Chinatown, because when I first went to Singapore, that times, you can rent a bunk bed for $50 to $106. Go in is one row, is 5 to 6 people. Yeah. I remember the first time when I saw that, I think, still got like this kind of stuff in Singapore. And I was afraid of it. And that became my catalyst to say, I gotta get my act again. Wow, so that's why I say it's a miracle for you, because you didn't wait to say because you could, let me just account for you the possibilities that could happen. It could be like, you affect your parents a lot until relationship is irreparable, what? 2 is that maybe your business suffer to the point that your co-founders, some, not all, but at least they are sick and tired of your behavior, right? Or you could be financially in. Maybe you spend on things to make you happier. Did that happen during that time?
No, actually no. No.
Stop. Somehow, why? No. See, that's why I say you're very lucky. That maybe I maximize it. At that time, I was like, okay, if you spend like YOLO, yeah, I never spent on this before. Let's experience.
The only thing I spent on was the travels,
Yeah.
That's about it, Right. But also budget airlines one.
Do you attribute it to? I don't know. It's just a sort of my hypothesis, right? Do you attribute the fact that you didn't go there because friends we have around?
I would think so, I think so. Plus the environment that I grew up with, grew up in as well lah. I think that definitely played a part in the mindset, behavior, and all of that. Although it was a time of being distraught, and I'm glad it didn't. But you still have worse than it.
I think you still have some support system at that point in time, but if you needed to make it reach us.
I mean, I had one of my church pastors that checked in very regularly just to make sure that I don't do stupid things, because I'm capable of doing stupid things. But
you're capable, but whether you will do it or not, that's not.
That is a different story to tell. Maybe not for record, you know. But he checked in, he checked in, and that made a lot of difference as well. Just to know that there's somebody that's still on my side, because at that point of time, it really felt that everybody was on the other side.
You know, sir, I always emphasize, in fact, to the younger audiences and all this, there are some people, I'm sure you also mentor a few, right? I always tell the younger ones, if I were to redo it, I would invest my time and all this one. I will invest with the right people, because they sort of keep you in check during those either very volatile or bad times that we had. And I'm glad that things actually, again, it seems very, forgive me, I'm not trying to sort of downplay your tough times, but in comparison to a lot of the things actually from others, it seems that you have a relatively smooth traveling. Yes, you have your learnings, but it seems somehow that, I don't know, it's bored or whatever, right? That there's a safety net somehow.
Yeah.
Not one that you purposely designed, but it was there for you.
Perhaps, yeah. Perhaps I wouldn't discount that, because it could have been far worse.
Because when you mentioned, you see, like your pastor checking, I wish I had pastor check-in. My check-in was this, and you know, I told you about boring. So I had again another episode of this one. If my mom is hearing, she's okay. But I tell her. So there was this time where I was so involved in this relationship, and my mom and sister actually know that this is not the right person. But again, maximize the personality, and it's like I have to pursue this until I know that's gonna come.
I just need really a maximizer.
And you know what my mom said, right? They said, if you walk up this mountain without my son,
really like drama.
Yeah. And I did walk.
Okay, you was really maximizing.
But before I walk out, I said, Mom, I love you, and I will be back. I just need an answer for myself. Wow. I don't want to live with regrets. And I don't know, Jan, I'm the type to, I don't want, like, maybe 20 years down, I said, what if? Yeah, I should have, what else is, right? So I did. And when I did, unfortunately, I ended up in bad company, bad times, but what was the catalyst that brought me back at my mother's spot? So that's why I feel very texting me. But that time I didn't know.
Okay.
How your mom and your sister doing? Actually, when I came back, right, is it all your mom asking? So you found it out later after all the guests. Okay. But you see, is that just one text? Actually, I was prepared to say, I don't want to come back. I'm done. Because no one understood my situation. Like you said, I couldn't talk to anyone, whether it's business, family, and all this shit. And all of a sudden, there's a text. You see, not a call and only for works, man. It's just text. And it works. And I was saying, is it really nice? You see, can right? Really? Oh, but very smart, This lady very smart. Come back, let's do a call.
Wow.
Come back. So it's
Okay.
it's not like affirmation of anything. It's like the priority is to get you back. So
Yeah.
right. Wow. I say very good. But it signal that someone can. And so I think like in your account of this, someone actually can. I feel, I don't know. So that actually drives me to show care more. Whether it's, people say it's a waste of time. I'm like, do you do that for your employees?
To care for them? You do? I do.
And how do you do that? Like, do you have that like one-on-one with them?
We do one-on-ones. Sometimes we do excessively a lot more one-on-ones than we typically would want to do. But I think somehow that has to be wired in us as well. Same goes to our leadership team as well. We invest quite a bit of time into sometimes even the personal lives of our team members. Only if they want, right? Because it takes two ways, right? I mean, we don't go and impose ourselves to say, tell us, you know, whatnot. But if they do share, we always try to be there to make sure that they are heard and whatever support that we are able to provide. I think that's the least we could do.
So if I just circle back it on that sense that with all the trials, tribulation, failures that we discussed about, right? Then would you have done it differently if, and for rewind it that, you know, either to certain points a day that 5 years and it's like, and if you would have, what would you have done differently? Or what if, let's say, the younger Jan is sitting in front of you, right? What would you ask him to avoid the most?
Well, very difficult this one. Because, right, although I would really want to say I would go back and change things, you know, and don't make that decision, don't go and do that, or, you know, don't go and overexpand or whatever, like personal business, right?
Yeah.
I think that so without those, the version, the Jan version that you see in front of you will be completely different, for better or for worse. So I think those experiences are necessary. Although I do hope that certain parts will change in the sense that I will step out of it faster, you know, rather than really going down the rabbit hole. But those failures really helped me to become a lot more stable in my thought process, you know, in my mindset as well. And I think more importantly, it became like an anchor point in my life, like a keystone in my life, right? A milestone where when I look back and I see that, right, I know that, hey, one, I've come so far. And two, it also reminds me that there is this moment per time one. I think if without that, right, if it's really smooth sailing, as you said, I would be worried for myself also. That means there'll be something somewhere, you know, that's lurking that they're missing out on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But that, okay, so that is your personal journey that you do. What if it was for a younger person who's starting up? You know, someone who wants to be another younger version of OpenMinds. Yeah. So what would you advise the younger person?
I would tell them honestly to experiment and find something that they are passionate to build. Okay. I think it's very important that there's a vision of themselves rather than trying to emulate a company or a person out there, because you can emulate the tangible side of things, right?
Yeah.
But without the heart or the intention behind it, it's going to be very difficult to go through that particular journey. Because a lot of the failures, if it was said clearly just now, right, at the end still fall back to the original intention of what OpenMinds is, or even what I intended from our own, like the whole dreaming part, the whole vision part, right? At the end, it still falls back to the line one. But imagine if someone emulates what the company is or what your ideas and my life is, right? Without that baseline, that when that failure happens, don't talk about failing first, talk about the challenges that come, right? Without that baseline, it's going to be very difficult to even continue on with the journey.
But if you want to be more pragmatic here, because I think we both also have to understand that we perhaps operate from some sort of privilege, right? In the sense that you mentioned that where you were the best compliment. In my end, I was very fortunate to meet with a lot of good mentors. You see that I don't really do accounts, but I say so, right? So, but for the younger person, like you said, it sounds very ideal in the sense that you said, okay, I'm gonna do what I love. Yeah, maybe I'm in the same position that I just that I don't have debt and whatnot, but I'm just not making enough money. I'm not making enough money to support, won't say family or loved ones, myself. So how do you balance that? A lot of people, I'll give you my take later after I came in the sense that, yeah, very ideal, very romantic to say, yeah, pursue your passion, right? That what it comes down to the finance and that the type even support. So I may be pursuing this passion, applying perhaps even worse in that technique. So what you advise me both hands, man?
Okay, first and foremost, right, when I talk about passion, it's not just blind passion. When I say passion, I say more like your intention of doing the business, your vision for the business in the first place,
Okay.
Because that becomes your baseline, right? Like Simon Sinek, right? Always ask why, right? What is your why? I think that is your baseline on doing the business anyway. So it's not just pure passion of I just enjoy this, so I'm doing this. But even if that comes into play, right? I always believe that you can actually reverse engineer this passion one. Meaning that,
Elaborate on that.
yeah. So meaning to say that, okay, let's say you have passion in pursuing art, right? And this particular art that you're doing is not giving you the money.
Let's move on pragmatic, which will resonate with a lot of audience. A lot of people want to be content creator today.
Okay, sure.
YouTuber, TikToker,
Sure.
Instagrammer, right?
Okay, good one, right? So become a so-called social media influencer or whatever, right? So sure, that could be your passion, that could be what you want to do, but it's not paying the bills, right? So when I say re-engineer, right, is to actually look at what makes a content creator in the first place. Let's break it down to components, right? So it could be a video editing skill, it could be a speaking thing, right? It could be how you are able to engage with your audience more organically, or maybe it's even the network that you have.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? So when you start breaking it down to components, to me is then how can you build on individual components while making money? Okay. Now, why I say that, right, is because my first company, right, back then, all I wanted to do was to open a computer hardware shop in our yard.
Oh,
like literally, I just wanted to sell a computer. That was my dream,
Okay.
right? That I want to start a computer shop.
Right.
I was 17 years old.
Wow.
I had zero money to do that, right?
Okay.
So what I did was that this was a passion, but I know I cannot reach it, right? So what is the components I needed to pursue that passion in the first place?
Sure.
I need money. I didn't come from a rich background, so I needed to somehow find money.
Right.
Number two, I needed to build knowledge even to run that shop.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So what I do, start in the lowest of low levels. I started formatting PCs for friends. At 5 ringgit each.
You charge, I do it for free. That's
But I charge, right?
Okay.
5 ringgit, right?
I value your time both.
So to really just build that experience and to build that capital to grow also from formatting PCs to selling thumb drives, to selling external hard drives, from external hard drives to graphic card, from graphic card to slowly PCs, and then finally being able to amass that to get closer to the dream. Now, at the end, did I pursue that dream? The answer is no. Because after that, I knew better that this is not something that I want to pursue.
Okay.
Already, right?
Okay, but you worked on the component.
You work on the component, because a lot of times I also think that many people pursue a passion without knowing what that passion is really like in the first place.
Okay, it's like in enterprise jargon require competency.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know what is it like, right? So you don't know what the competency to go for it. You want to become the next badminton player, but you never even fixed up the racket before.
Okay. I understand.
That is the rationale behind it, lah.
Right. So in our example, so if I want to be an influencer today, I don't necessarily have to say, be good at video editing, and then I have to be good at marketing, and I need to talk well, and I need to create a content. So I can just perhaps start on that component as you mentioned. So which means I do not need to be an influencer myself possibly.
Yep.
Perhaps I could work with a influencer agency and see how the influencers work,
Exactly.
how brand deals are being made.
Exactly. And this applies to a lot of things. Back then everybody wanted to develop app.
Yeah.
There was this app dream, right? That everybody would put it on the app store and become a millionaire, that kind of thing. But again, nobody goes from 0 to 100 overnight, right?
Yeah.
So working in an app company, maybe you were picking up developments, you try working on a small app yourself, all this becomes stepping stone.
And ideally is that when you work with these components, they can pay the bills too.
Yes, exactly.
And likely actually it will pay the bills.
Exactly. Because at the end, we also need to consider the worst case scenario, right? Let's say if you work on this and you realize that, this is something that I don't enjoy doing, but you have big skills for that as well. And those skills are usually transferable across industries or different situations.
So like to expand on that is that when you started out, like you say you want to do this, Lao Yaps,
Yes.
she's company or whatever, right? Computer company.
Yeah.
And you work on the components again. Did you make good money on those components?
Actually made decent money about the components and cover the cost. I have to cover the cost for sure. And that gave me enough capital to start my next venture.
I personally think that perhaps you have articulated better than I always just sum it up to this, a lot of people say they want to start a business, I'm so bored about my work, I have no passion and all this, right? So I want to start a business. Then I ask them many questions, right? I'm saying, you want to start a business today? I said, are you starting your own job or you're a business? And I said, a lot of business today lack talent. I think you will have a better return financially, right? And risk-wise, to just work for people while you gain knowledge at the end of the day. And that if it really, if it's really your passion, there will be a time where you know it's the right time. But you don't just quit out the saying, bored, my boss don't listen to me,
Those are not good reasons. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so I think you articulated it better, because for me, I always just say, no, I don't think. I think working is less risk for you. I certainly went into it just because as in went into business is because at that point, I know it's very different. At that point in time, nothing could pay better than a business would support my very young. I work at very young. So in terms of paying for expenses like that, right? So okay, it's very good to hear that we have a very pragmatic approach. Follow your passion, but in context, basically build out your components of that passion.
That's right.
By one.
Yeah.
And then maybe just piece it together at the end of the day when the time is right.
Yeah, because sometimes you can realize that actually I don't like this anymore. True, right? Or through the process, or through the process you find that there's something even bigger or even better that catches your attention. Then you can.
This reminds me of there's this business owner that who's really big going. I didn't want to. I have this bad habit. When I go to F&B on this, right? And if the owners are there, I'll strike up conversation with them. just to understand why they start a business about insurance. It's just what I like to talk about. And was this owner of the bakery, we got from the talking. I was like, what did you do last night? I was IBM salesperson. Well, tech, you know, maybe you were I said, tech, bakery, and then I asked, why didn't you continue doing your tech or investing in a bakery instead of running a bakery? So I get very burnt out from selling tech. Tech always changes. Then I said, now not burnt out. I said, now more burnt out because I don't know how to sell the bread. Because I only have one bakery. I was like, oh, you're jumping from what you're really good at, the hopes that they think this is something that they can own that. And you know what? It's worse that they think this buys them freedom, right? It was maybe a passion from the beginning, right? Yeah. Now it's become unfortunate.
Yes.
And to make things worse is, I said, hey, you are tech one, you understand the POS system, the CRM, and keep been collecting. You know us about tech is not exactly. It's like Facebook ads. So, no, I'm so out. Yeah, you're right. Or I'm a tech person. I should keep on that. So that's very sad. To me, it's a destruction of skill set and value just because of that either
so-called that passion.
where
Doing
actually that. All right. Do you have anything to add?
But anything to well, I think a lot have been said already, from business to personal stories.
No, actually not enough personal.
No,
I just let you off the hook a bit.
Okay.
But we can definitely catch it out on another time.
Yes.
But yeah, are there any closing thoughts too? I think for me, why I did this sort of project is because specifically for the young in to me, and I'll tell you why also is that, you know, if you open up TikTok, YouTube and all, there's all these people like, sorry, you can call me out for you want to tag me, rich bait, no problem, right? Is that like what Andrew Tate, Kai Lopez,
Sure.
and all these influencers with the private jets and super cars,
Sure.
And you know what? The sad thing is that the young people are really impressionable. It's okay because they it's that says symbol, right? And to people who have better mentors and community to support them, it's okay because they have a real comparison. They vision successful people are by best tolerant. But to those who do not, and even worse, to those who do not have access to conversation that what we have, or even just between you and me, right? They are at a disadvantage, right? So, is having in that context, what should your company talks be? You know, those people are listening in possibly, or maybe were discovering their first journeys in their, I don't know, early 20s or probably even teens, right? What would be a talks to this group of people? Jan Wong?
I mean, just based on what you have said, I think it's very dangerous chasing after all these what I call shiny objects. I think what we see on social media,
and it's a role we operate.
Yeah, it's you really don't know how legit some of these things are. Yes, I mean you don't know these people's background. Everything is to some extent manufactured for content. Some of it is really purely for entertainment purposes. Some of them, could be so-called really rich, but how the making of that, a lot of people tend to overlook or don't really understand the journey as well, right? And it's also sad to see that people also don't understand that not everybody falls into that category, right? And so-called business and building this livelihood is not so straightforward as just waking up next day, post a content and immediately and overnight success. A lot of YouTubers don't tell people this, but they create like hundreds of videos before one gets noticed.
Yeah, that's right.
To earn their first paycheck from YouTube.
There's still the hard work.
Right? People always see the end result, but not the struggles that they go through, or let's just say by 100 videos. So you take that into businesses, you take that into Forbes Cities, Fortune 100 or whatever there is, right? There's always that process that people discount, but that's where I think the real character building, the real story making part happens. So when we talk about failures in this entire session, right, I really believe that failure is also part and parcel of making something out of everything that you're doing.
So they have to embrace it and treat it as part of the process.
Yeah.
So the unfortunate thing is that there's no shortcut.
There's really no shortcut. There's really no shortcut, right? So many people like to say that technology is a shortcut today and whatever else, right? Yeah, to some extent, I kind of agree. To some extent, because you have a global audience. Now we're a lot more connected. Yeah, technically, you sell something for $1, you got 1 million people buy, sure, right? We live in a time where that is possible, but that does not mean that it's going to be straight up easy. Because really think about it logically, if it's easy, right, everybody would already been made. I know this example is overused, right, but it's true.
Yeah.
Right? Who is the one buying then? Everybody is rich, right? How the process of getting there, I mean, there's still a lot to go through lah.
Okay. All right. I think it's been a very insightful conversation. Probably we may need another session, right?
Perhaps, yes.
And yes, I think we will probably end here at this time. For those who would like to hear more, tune in. And bigger the demand gets, the bigger the speakers get. So thank you so much, Jan.
Pleasure.
We hope to see you again in future episodes. And that's all for today. Tune in again for Behind the Failure. Thanks.
Thank you.